All right, the Democratic primary is off to a pretty rocky start as the two frontrunners, Joe Biden, creepy Uncle Joe, and Bernie Sanders, are facing a little bit of reckoning as questions swirl now about the coveted Obama endorsement. New York Times reporting that Obama had urged, well, crazy Uncle Joe not to run in 2016. Meanwhile, Senator Bernie Sanders is in some hot water tonight. New documents and footage reviewed by FoxNews.com reveal that he has a history of praising violent socialist revolutionaries and policies such as forced land redistribution, like in Cuba. Here's the reaction. Much more. The author of a brand new book just out today. It's on Hannity.com, Amazon.com, bookstores everywhere. It's called Collusion. That's not ripped from the day's headlines.
Well, sometimes you get lucky.
And by the way, if you're in New York or New Jersey, you're going to be at Ridgewood New Jersey Bookends at 6 o'clock tomorrow. 6
o'clock.
Eastern. Good to see you. How are you? I never see you in studio much. It was collusion. It was now the New York Times, 2.5 years of lying. Yes. Now they're saying, it looks like it was probably Russian disinformation. Now Bob Woodward...
Is this going to be wild if it turns out that that entire dossier was a plant by the Russians?
Mr. Speaker, they never verified it, and they used it in 4 FISA applications, and it was a backdoor into all of Trump campaign world.
But if you knew Trump was bad, why would you verify it? Because it fit all of your previous beliefs.
You see, you're saying that with a smile. That's an attempt. Remember, they leaked it to the Washington Post,
David Corn. It's a coup d'etat. Trump is right. Trump's language when he interviewed you, or you interviewed him, I guess. The other way.
Sort of he interviews himself.
It's sort of a two-way street. But his comments, which the news media reacted to negatively, as they should, because they're his enemies, this was an attempted coup d'etat. This was an effort by a group of people to undermine the choice of the American people because they had arrogated to themselves that they were morally superior and they had the right to deny us the constitutional system. That's what it was.
I look at it in 3 different phases. Phase 1, Hillary's investigation, we know was rigged.
Right.
Strzok and Page are laughing about it. The Attorney General, it's a matter. It's not an investigation. And then the tarmac. And then, look, they're saying, they're all Democrats. The fix is in.
Right.
They're saying that. Now, the next phase of it is, okay, then the attempt to spy on a campaign to rig an election with their favorite candidate that they got off the hook. Then the aftermath of which is to then undermine a duly elected president and bludgeon him with those Russian lies.
I think that's exactly right. And I think the challenge to the president and to Attorney General Barr is to have the nerve to calmly and methodically get everything out in the open. Let the American people see how sick the system had gotten.
We know that people are going to have to be held accountable. You can't rig an investigation for your favored candidate. You can't present to a FISA court one candidate's bought and paid for Russian dossier, not verify it, not tell the court that Hillary paid for it. They knew it. They didn't tell the FISA court.
You know, there's a report out, I think today or yesterday, that 53% of the American people think corruption's a major problem. Well, they're right. This is all a corrupt behavior by a power structure, part of it bureaucratic, part of it news media, part of it politicians and lobbyists, but a power structure that decided it could protect its favorite, it could destroy the person it disliked, and it could do all of it outside the law in a way that is clearly a total violation.
You are a great historian. How did this happen in America?
The system had grown steadily and steadily more corrupt.
By
the way, that's the biggest burden Joe Biden will carry.
He
is part of the corrupt system. I mean, he's got 2 answers. Either I was in the room and knew it, or nobody would ever tell me. Now, the one answer
he was in the room.
I think he was in the room. I think he knew it. And I think the fact is that Joe Biden and Barack Obama consciously sought to lie to the American people and to undermine the results of an election.
So you see this cast of characters, many of which are even supporting the new Green Deal. Eliminate the combustion engine, oil and gas, cows.
It's not.
Well, I'm
it's
sorry.
Not,
Not me. I'm not. Why are you blaming me?
No, it's not
me?
No, it's not Christmas, and they've rushed up to you with this giant box and said, "Please."
Shh. Don't tell anybody. It's our secret. But
that's how
2020 candidates are saying they support this.
That's because nobody yet has gone to their districts and said, "Let me explain how really stupid this is."
Well, okay, but you got
frankly
you got 100 Democrats and in the Senate and the House that like it. You got presidential candidates that like it.
Right.
Who do you think
They're
is going to? Two questions. Who's going to win this primary? Who do you think? Do you think it's Biden? Do you think it's Sanders? Do you think it's somebody else?
Well, I never can say right. I think it's is it Buttigieg?
Yeah, it's Buttigieg. Yeah,
Buttigieg.
Mayor Pete.
I'm trying. Yeah. I think he has the best chance because he's the most like Jimmy Carter. That is, he's a blank slate. Everybody can pretend they like him without ever knowing what he really stands for. And if he's clever, he'll always be like number 3 or number 4 until they get to the vote.
Okay. Who do you think would be the toughest for President Trump? Look, we always vote peace and prosperity. We've never had a better economy. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
I know how much the president likes you. And so I'm a little cautious to say this because he'll probably see this.
Oh, boy.
No, the biggest challenger to Donald Trump's reelection is Donald Trump.
Why?
Because with a little bit of discipline and a little bit of focus, he would become unbeatable.
There's never been, and you're the great historian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, somebody that is this much of a disruptor, iconoclast. I think his greatest gift is keeping his word. He fights everything he said he would do, he's doing.
Look, I keep telling people, Biden wants to run as Mr. Likeable, pleasant guy.
Yeah.
Trump is going to ultimately run as Mr. Tough guy who gets things done. The country's got to decide in a real world, do you want this nice, pleasant doofus who's not going to get anything done, or do you want this tough guy who has weaknesses, but by God, he gets things done?
What about the Biden-Obama record, 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty? You've heard me say that a lot.
I doubt if we'll get to that with Biden because he's going to fall apart first.
So you think it's Buttigieg? If you had to guess today,
if I had to guess today, it's Buttigieg. Now, you can play this later on this fall.
No, I'm going to play it forever.
Laugh at me.
Well, okay. We might do that just for fun. Well, collusion ripped up right out of the headlines. If you're in New Jersey, bookend 6 p.m. tomorrow. You know, it cracks me up. This is a novel, but it's real life.
That's right.
Mr. Speaker, always good to see you.
Great,
Thanks so much for being with us.